Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And every once in a blue moon, you have an Olympic gold medalist talking about ways to power the good. And so we are honored to have with us Scott Hamilton. He is the founder and the chief volunteer with the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation. And so, Scott, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I had a great time with you all. This week we've spent a lot of time together, and it's just been a really remarkable time of reflection. And it's just really interesting how you guys created this Power the Good campaign to really allow companies to step into philanthropy and to really allow for communities to be knit together in an even more profound way by people just linking arms and just trying to reach goals for those who really need that help. So I'm really honored, and I'm really inspired by your mission and your success, and just going on the website. I checked it out last couple of days, and again this morning in review of this interview, and it was like, oh my goodness, your impact has been magnificent, and you really make it easy for companies, businesses, corporations to really come into the City Current world and make a difference in their communities. So I just really want to thank you for that.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. And when you talk about linking arms and lifting community, that is you and your personal storyline, your professional storyline, and everything on the charitable side, which we'll definitely talk all about. You have an amazing personal story, and I want people to obviously do their own research, and we'll have you come back on and do like a Changemakers podcast to do a deep dive. But when you talk about being adopted and the things that you've overcome to be successful in your career, and as you've mentioned, falling down on the ice and in life and yet getting back up, over tens of thousands of times. You've had a lot in your career, but give us a little bit of the personal story really tied to your mother and you personally that led you to this fight against cancer. Let's be specific on that side. I think this is a very important piece.
Well, yeah, my mom was the center of my universe. As boys, we grow up loving our moms and admiring our dads, right? But our moms are like the center of our universe. And my mom was amazing. She was a very nurturing person, very involved in our community, Bowling Green, Ohio. Poured into everyone she met, and it was just a really amazing person. Wanted a big family. Unfortunately, she was only able to successfully give birth to one child, my sister, and every other child would die at birth. And so adoption was their best option. I was brought into the family, 6 weeks of age. I always joke that I remember like it was yesterday. But it was, one of those things where, people would say to her, "Oh, you can't deny him." And I was like, well, I was adopted. How? And my mom would always say, "You always resemble the ones you love the most." And that was who she was. And so growing up as sort of a mama's boy and getting into, all my 4 years of being in and out of hospitals, and she'd slept in a chair in the corner and all that sacrificial stuff that moms do, it really bonded us in a really profound way. And then, she came home with a cancer diagnosis, and she was very cheerful and optimistic. We actually wrote a book kind of based on that. It's called Fritzy Finds a Hat. It's a children's book about, a gentle way of talking to kids about cancer. But the way that she laid it out was very, very happy. Oh, I've just been diagnosed with cancer, and I'm going to have some medicines, may not make me feel good. And I might have some surgery down the road, but I just really want everybody to come together and let's just do this together as a family. And so, we were given our marching orders, and we watched her fight this thing valiantly for 2 years. They threw everything in the kitchen sink and everything at her. There really wasn't a proven path to treat my mom, and so she just endured and endured and endured. And she wouldn't take any pain medication until she said, "I want to wait till the end because I don't want it to be where I'm pain medication resistant. I know it's going to be tough." And so she waited, and I was in her room till about 3:30 in the morning. The last night she was with us, and I was sleeping on the couch in my family room, and my brother-in-law said, "She's gone." And it was there my life changed forever, because I was sort of a serial underachiever at that point. I kind of was a real dedicated taker and not a giver. And And I just saw my life just flipped upside down. How am I going to do this without her? And in that process of mourning and just trying to figure out how to step into the next, I decided I didn't need to do it without her. I could do it with her. And so I took her with me to the ice every single day. And I just wanted to dedicate the rest of my skating life to her. And it changed everything. I was, one of the last guys always historically in the country. I always affectionately refer to myself as last place guy. And then it flipped. The last time she saw me skate in competition, I was untrained, unfocused. I was sort of a knucklehead adolescent jerk. And I came in ninth. Given every opportunity to succeed, I came in ninth at nationals, and it was humiliating. And the next year, based on her powering me to, kind of accountability, I was then ranked third in the United States and 11th in the world. And then 2 years later, I'm on the Olympic team, fifth, in the world then. Top three guys retired. I'm now ranked second in the world. And I decided to take another deep look into, kind of why am I not more successful? And it's because I didn't like a part of my job. I didn't like the compulsory figures. And so I decided that that wasn't allowed to happen anymore. Put my head down, got to work, fell in love with compulsory figures. And then for the next 4 years went undefeated, which for a last place guy is not bad. So all of that, was kind of fueled on when I lost my mom. The skating part of it was huge, but I also became a fundraiser for cancer research. And we would do skating shows, wherever we could, however we could. And I just wanted to raise money to see if we could find a solution to her problems, to know that our 18-year-old boy had to say goodbye to his mom. And from there, obviously I had that big run through the, 4 world championships and 4 US championships, Olympic gold medal, what in the world. But it came time for me to turn professional. And in that, I just had to figure out kind of how to, there was no real proven path for a male professional skating, kind of headliner type of thing. So I had to kind of make that happen. And I learned a lot, and I was very kind of humble and hungry is kind of what I like to say is a really solid way to approach any business aspiration is humble and hungry. There's nothing I won't do. I unloaded trucks for our crew because we didn't have enough crew show up. I'd put on the gloves and start unloading, lighting grids. And I was just, no, I'll do it. Tell me what to do. You need me up at 5 o'clock in the morning for drive time radio? Yeah, whatever it takes. And so, I thought if I skated like 4 years, I was fooling a lot of people. And now I'm in my 13th year as a professional skater. And we're selling out arenas all over the country with this, Stars on Ice platform. And I was symptomatic, I was kind of pushed it away as long as I could. I thought it was an ulcer. I went in for 50 cities into a 60-city tour. I go in finally to see a doctor, and he basically said, you have a mass. And a mass. And he goes, yeah, it's either benign, malignant, or something else. If it were me, I'd take care of it right away. And I realized in that moment that I was 2 months shy of the 20th anniversary of losing my mom, and I'm being diagnosed with cancer, her disease. And I was scared. I was like anyone that gets that diagnosis. Bad things only happen to other people, by the way. That's kind of how most of us feel. And so I was like fearful, and then that fear flipped to a sense of courage, clarity of mission, power. And I just said, okay, I know I'm coachable. So I'm going to be the best patient I've ever had. And I'm going to get through this thing and be right back on tour next year. And that was my mindset. So, massive, like we had 5 days in a row of 8-hour infusions, so it became kind of a full-time job. And then 16 days off, 5 days on of 8-hour infusions, 16 days off, 5 days in a row of 8-hour infusions. And it was after that third round, I just wanted to kind of quit. I said, I don't really, my life has changed so drastically and so profoundly, and my physicality is different. I went from skating in front of 15,000 people to, just sort of feeling sick all the time and, living in relative isolation. And And then I wanted to quit. And then, thanks to friends, they go, how many rounds do you have left? And I go, I had 5 more days. And say, okay. And then a big 38 staple surgery. And then I was back to life. But now I was armed with the understanding of what it felt like to go through a cancer journey, not just what it looked like. Right. And I learned so much. I went on Dr. Google. You just go on the internet to look for your answers, and all I could find was medical journal papers with 12-syllable words. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not fair. I'm too dumb to be sick. That's not fair. And how many people are like me? And so we created a website called chemocare.com. Well, out of my survivorship, we created CARES, the Cancer Alliance for Research, Education, and Survivorship. And in that, I really wanted to solve 3 major problems. Education, I really wanted patients to be able to access user-friendly information that could help prepare them for their journeys, and really arm them to the teeth with everything they need to know to fend off the side effects and live as best they could in their chemotherapy experience. And then the other side of it was I wanted to quit at round 3. Really? So what didn't I know, and how do I get that information? And what I realized is in any cancer journey, there's 3 angels. There's your oncologist, your oncology nurse, and your friends and family. What was missing was the 4th angel. And the 4th angel is someone who's been where you are and is on the other side of it. It's a survivor. And so we created this mentorship program to pair newly diagnosed patients with survivors who work as sort of life coaches and role models. And, all those programs have been, around for 20 years, and they're thriving. But the third part of it, besides the education and survivorship piece, is research. And so I realized that my mom had no chance, none. And I was given an 80-90% chance of survival due to the fact that 2 research scientists in Indiana figured out how to treat my cancer. So where mine was treatable because of research, my mom's wasn't. And I just felt like, I grew up the smallest kid in my class. I don't like bullies, and there are too many bullies out there. And so we just, we dedicated CARES now as a dedicated foundation. For the last 9 years, we were at the Cleveland Clinic. We were part of their patient resource programs of all the support and all the education. And we did, I think, 53 or 54 research programs at the Cleveland Clinic. But my desire was to grow in a way that would change cancer forever. And that was really dedicating our time and our treasures towards the promise of a better treatment option, which is treat the cancer and spare the patient harm. Like right now, just due to just lack of better options, cancer is really famous for the treatment sometimes being more challenging than the disease itself. And so we just, we wanted to flip the script, and immunotherapy was something that I'd heard a lot about. Targeted therapies were something I heard a lot about. So we put our stake in the ground as we're only going to fund the future of cancer treatment options, and that's immunotherapy and immune response to your cancer. Right now, as we speak, your body is detecting broken, dead, or mutant cells. Your immune system is destroying them and discarding them. There's something about the cancer cells that trick the body into saying, no, I need more resource. I need you to take away my waste. I need to thrive in this environment. And if we can just sort of allow our bodies to see the cancer for what it is, then our immune systems will just attack it and discard it and get rid of it. So that's been, that was our dedication. And 2 years after we decided that was our whole mindset, the first T-cell immunotherapy drug hit the market, CAR T. And it was like validation. Okay. And then James P. Allison won the Nobel Prize for his 50 years of work in immunotherapy. And so it's, okay, there's more confirmation. And then there's. And I was like, we are really onto something, to the point where we were funding some work at the Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. And their head of immunotherapy said, how long have you been doing this? And we told him, he said, how did you know? I just said, I'm very smart. So that's kind of, the history of CARES. I didn't choose cancer. Cancer chose me and my family. And the only thing you can do in a situation like that is respond in kind. And cancer took one of our most beloved family members, my mom. And so I just want to take cancer out, period. And so I've dedicated huge aspect of my life. I'll never take a penny for any of the work I do in cancer. That's why I say I'm a volunteer. And I just really want everything. And that's why I'm shameless in asking other people to get involved. I go, I'm doing this for free. Would you consider? And most of the times they go, yeah, everybody's been impacted by cancer. So we do events and we do gatherings and we do Skate to Eliminate Cancer, where we get young children to peer-to-peer fundraise for us. And we do a big show in Nashville Sunday before Thanksgiving each year, where we bring iconic musicians on a stage at the end of the ice performing for our audience, and skaters interpreting their music, Olympic skaters. And this year on November 19th, we have Nathan Chen, reigning Olympic champion, arguably the greatest skater that ever strapped knives to his feet, coming to bless us with his gifts and talents. And we've got a phenomenal cast of skaters, and we're celebrating 90s country. And so it's going to be a fun night of just celebrating life and the promise of a better tomorrow.
You also have the 1984 Fund. And so talk about the 1984 Fund and where we can go to get involved with the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation.
Well, the A in CARES. CARES is an acronym for the Cancer Alliance for Research, Education, Survivorship. So the A is what I'm really just pounding on right now, is creating the army, the alliance of we work really well with other organizations. We're not a silo at all. We're very collaborative. We're very small in our staff, but we have a large, a volunteer base that really does great things. And in that, we just decided that 1984 was a year that allowed me to make a podium, a platform. I guess that's kind of the buzz sort of slogan. And it was like, there I was given the credibility to step into the marketplace and really try to make a bigger difference. And so, what do you do with an Olympic gold medal? Mine lived in a brown paper bag in my underwear drawer for, 8 years until I could figure out a way to get rid of it. But that being the case, it's like 1984. There's something really cool about that. So people can go on scottcares.org. And if they want to support our mission for $19.84 a month, they can sign up, and every recurring donation each month can help us really meet our goals. And just that money coming in, it's not transactional. It's just a pure donation that goes straight into the work that we're doing. And it's really a remarkable campaign. Chaz Corzine is a friend of mine here in town. He's one of our board members, and he's been involved in the music business his entire, life. And he just came up with this, 1984 campaign. And it's brilliant in a way that when we're doing one of our Skate to Eliminate Cancer events, on the ice, I'll just tell people a little story about how and why they should get involved. And for $19.84 a month, they can be a part of changing our world for the better and forever. And so it's a really cool campaign, and it works great. It's very fluid. Again, scottcares.org. People can join us and just sign up. And one of our donors for the 1984 campaign does $200 a month. I do a lot more than 1984 every month, so, people can donate however much they want, or however much they can. And in that, we're really, we're trying to be a good citizen and really trying to make sure that we do everything we can, not only in our Nashville community, but in communities all over the country. I'm going to Alaska, Las Vegas, Cleveland. I can't do Minneapolis this year, but there are these Skate to Eliminate Cancer programs going on all over the United States. And they're magnificent, and they're fun, and they're able to raise a lot of money. We've raised, I think, almost $2.5 million through the Skate to Eliminate Cancer program since we started it, and it's just continuing to grow and grow and grow and grow. Alaska, we have Anchorage and Juneau competing against each other to see who can raise the most money. So I just keep throwing, gasoline on that fire. It's like, well, Anchorage might be a little ahead. No, that's not going to happen. So, and now we've expanded out to hockey. We do these 3v3 tournaments, which is really fun. And last year we did one with the Tampa Bay Lightning, where we were at Amalie Arena, where they, hosted the Stanley Cup many times. And it was just, fun for our hockey players to be on that ice where they've seen their favorite team play for, years and years, to be able to, compete, to really try to change the world. And again, I keep saying change the world, right? Because that's exactly what we're doing. If people aren't guaranteed a full length of life, we'll never really know what their potential was, because each season offers a different level of energy or wisdom, and in that, I'm really trying to make sure that not only everybody gets to live the full length and breadth of their life, but also doing it in a way without all the collateral damage for the treatment options that exist now. So, I've got a great executive director in Carrie Morgan. The president of my board of directors is Pete Fisher, who's a superstar in this area. My board of directors is, every year we just evolve into something. I want everybody's autograph. It's remarkable. And like Marcus Whitney is he's an entrepreneur here in Nashville, and he's one of the owners of the Nashville Soccer Club, and he raises money through his competing in jiu-jitsu, which is really cool. And he's like a two-time world masters champion of jiu-jitsu. So it's really fun and how we can leverage, sort of our worlds into just saying, well, I can do this just by doing what I do every single day. I can participate in this, and I know where the money's going. I know it's going to be well invested. I know the science is solid, and I know that we're making something. Let's just say, it's like a songwriter. We do a lot of songwriter nights. I go, they created something that we know every word, these songs, but it came out of nowhere, right? And so we're in the same way. We're trying to create new pathways towards survivorship out of, just, it doesn't exist now, but it will, so creating something that wasn't there before is really a profound mission. And, I've always felt like, and this is something for your, City Current faithful, the greatest gifts given are to those who will never know its origin. Right? It's selfless. I'm doing this because I can. I'm making a difference because I can. And, the recipient of this gift may never know where it came from. And that's cool. That's really cool.
Absolutely. No, and that's awesome. So Scott, you and your team, definitely change makers. Love and appreciate everything you're doing with the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation. Thank you so much for all you do and for coming on the show.
Well, thank you. And again, I'm excited about our next event together. And man, it's just what you're doing in your communities and with your businesses is it's such a great idea, and it works. So I'm hoping that you continue to grow your sphere, and cities all over or states all over the United States and Canada. Let's say get involved in this. This is this phenomenal platform to really bless and change your communities for the better and forever.